Okay, so some people were asking like why I felt that Americans have culture. So for reference, like we can look up what culture is. So this states that culture can be defined as all the ways of life, including arts, beliefs, and institutions of a population that are passed down from generation to generation. You can read the rest, but this is pretty much what culture is defined as. Here's a diagram that I feel is easier to read. Basically, culture and all its subcategories. So, quite frankly, I feel that it's impossible to not have a culture. So to say Americans don't have culture is just plain false because now, but let's play devil's advocate. What can be considered American culture that isn't stolen? So let's think about that. I feel like my biggest point for American culture would be our pop culture. That's probably one of our popular culture. Even the term itself was invented by a American. So pop culture is talking about like our entertainment, such as like films, music, television, video games, sports, and news and politics. All of that is pop culture. So let's think about what are some pop culture examples. Here I just picked some random thing I found online, but as you can see, like all these things, maybe not Mario. I don't think Mario was invented in America. Let me look that up. No, Mario is not American. I don't know why he's there, but I do feel like America is what really popularized him. Same thing with Sony, PlayStation. A lot of these things weren't exactly invented in America, but I do feel like they were definitely popularized, and its target audience nowadays is mostly American consumers, but we won't talk about that. But let's talk about like Disney. Like that's one of our biggest pop culture out here right now. That's American. Our music, let's talk about rap and hip hop and all these. Although yes, you can say that all those things were influenced from other countries, which is true, but that's what culture is. Jazz is like one of the only, I'm pretty sure is the only American thing, and that was made by Black Americans. So culture, that's our culture. Art and music, like I said, hip hop, our Hollywood is a big thing, and a lot of like non-Americans, they to get to Hollywood is to get to where like that's peaking, is to get your whatever into Hollywood. That's a really big thing. Beliefs, I don't know any like specific beliefs that are universal to Americans, because again, America is so big. Nobody's gonna believe the same thing with language. Nobody speaks the same language in America, and even if we all speak English, it's just like somebody from I don't know, New Zealand in America. We both speak English, but they're very, very different in terms of like dialect. Certain words mean different things. It's just too different. Customs as well. It's too broad of a term to even consider, especially with like America. But we do have like, people say Americans, we lean a lot. I didn't notice, but that's culture. That's an American thing that we do. And Americans, our tipping culture is crazy. Our people say Americans are very polite. Like we hold doors open for people, and we say good morning. We say how are you doing to complete strangers. That's American culture. So to say America doesn't have a culture is just flat out wrong. So let's talk about what's all that big elephant in the room. Black American culture. So it's one thing to say Americans don't have culture, which again is very false. I only brought up one big example, which is our pop culture, but there's others, and this video will be 3,000 minutes long if I were to deep dive into all that. But to flat out say that Black Americans have no culture simply because we don't know where our home country is so wrong, and it's such a big slap in the face every single time. Especially when I hear other Black people say it that aren't American. They could be from the UK, they could be from the Caribbean, they could be from Africa, literally anywhere. To hear other Black people say, oh, Black Americans have no culture and it's so wrong. So let's talk about that. So a prime example I would say about African American culture is our food. soul food. That's American. Like, if you, one thing, I have never heard anybody say they don't like soul food. And if you don't like soul food, you're lying. Because, listen, I love me some soul food. But let me show y'all something. So this might not be the best example, but this is a really big thing in Black American culture, which is our food, soul food. It might be different depending on where you're from. Like, nobody's ever gonna make the same soul food. Everybody has their own secret recipes that their great grandma had was written down or whatever. Everybody's gonna be different. But this is more like a classic plate, just baked mac and cheese, collard greens, cornbread, fried chicken, and candy yams. Me personally, I don't like candy yams, but maybe because I just never had ones that from people that know how to make it. But I don't like candy yams. But anyways, that's a big part of our culture is our food. Another huge thing in Black American culture is our music. R&B, rap, hip-hop, jazz. Those are really big things, especially like back in like the Harlem Renaissance era. Music was so big, and even today music is a really big part of our culture and how we express. And honestly, like, it's crazy how far, like, obviously I know that a lot of our music did derive from like our African roots, but at the same time it's like that's what culture is. It, from generation to generation, it influences and changes and blah 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 blah. That's culture, and our music is really big. And I know you recognize some of these people, and no matter how old you are, I know you recognize some of these people. So again, music is a really big thing in Black culture. Our fashion, and I'll talk about our hair later, but this is more like older, but our fashion plays a big role in how we express ourselves. The Jordans, the Air Jordans, like, that's Black culture. And even though like it may be, it definitely influenced a lot of people, because look, but we're not gonna talk about that. And obviously I know our culture has derived from other parts of the world, but at the same time I feel like a lot of our especially our style definitely was popularized due to us. Like the grills, like, who was it, Nelly that popularized the grills? Like, although the grills have always been a thing, but popularization and spread, all that's Black culture. But so, a quick side note, I feel like I didn't word this the way I actually wanted it to. What I really meant to say is, because again, I don't have a script, so I'm just kind of going off the top of my head, and I am like stuttering a lot. But what I really wanted to say was that, like, earlier in the video I was discussing how like in regards to video game characters like Mario and Ash from Pokemon and Sony PlayStation, that although it wasn't created in America like grills, it never originated in America, and not even a Black person had created it, but I do still believe that Black people are what popularized that. And I'm talking about grills, not Mario and Pokemon and all that stuff, but again, Black people popularized that, and that's what I was trying to get at. So sorry if it just sounded weird. It sounded weird to me rewatching it, so just wanted to clarify. Lastly, our hair. This is not even last. I'm just tired of talking now, but I have locks. I don't, whatever you want to call them. I call them locks, but that's what I call them. I know that's not like a traditional Black American hairstyle, but I'm not even, with our hair, I'm not even just talking about Black Americans in this case, because obviously if you're Black, you have Black hair. So unless you don't. Anyways, our hair is, I hate to be that guy, but our hair is literally our crowns, and we use our hair to express it in so many different ways. Like, we can do so much with our hair and stuff, and I feel like there's a lot of Black hairstyles that were created by Black Americans and were popularized and stuff here in America and spread elsewhere. But looking beyond that, our hair is definitely one of our prized possessions. I don't know, that's just me, and I don't want to see nobody like, oh, Vikings in such and such time frame had braids and it was called the Viking braid and Black people don't only own braids. Shut up, because I know dang well no Viking was wearing triangle part knotless braids. None, absolutely none. So please miss me with that. But yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed.